Email marketing secrets. More opens, reads, and clicks from every email you send. So, imagine this for a moment. You've done a good job building your list with the help of Perkzilla. You've got this targeted group of subscribers who are eagerly awaiting your emails, and you want to turn these new subscribers into loyal readers who will open every email you send. Guess what? This is where a lot of email marketers totally stumble and fail. They build the list, but they can't keep the list engaged. Maybe the subscribers open the first few emails, but eventually they stop opening them. They unsubscribe, and the remaining list is unresponsive and as cold as an icicle. Why? Simply put, the emails aren't delivering what the audience wants. Simple on the surface, but there are quite a few ingredients that go into creating the perfect email recipe that will get your subscribers' attention and keep them engaged over the long term. And that's exactly what you're about to discover in this report. In moments, you'll learn about the crucial ingredients of a good email, from compelling subject lines to engaging content to the tech factors that make a difference. Once you're done with this report, then you too will know how to get your subscribers opening and reading your emails both today and for the long term. So, grab your favorite beverage, put your feet up, get comfortable, and read on. Define your goal. Before you can even think about writing a word of your email, you need to define your singular goal for that email. Not 5 goals, not 3 goals, 1 goal. Because here's the thing, if you try to achieve multiple goals with a single email, you're just going to weaken your message. You'll confuse your reader, and when faced with too many options, your reader may just opt to not take any action at all. Sure, sometimes your email will inadvertently achieve more than one goal. For example, a well-written sales message with a goal of selling a product may achieve that goal. But just by virtue of sharing your honest opinion about a product, that email also serves to build better relationships with your audience. You get a twofer without even trying. That's a happy accident. Nonetheless, you want to focus just one goal, and then make sure every word of your email serves that singular goal. So, what sorts of goals are we talking about? Let me share with you some of the top goals. Generate sales of your own product or service. This could come in several forms, including case studies, directly promotional pieces, and similar items. Create sales for an affiliate offer. Here you promote affiliate products with direct promotions, product reviews, and similar pieces. Promote or build anticipation. This is where you promote something now, even though the immediate goal is not to make a sale. For example, sending out pre-launch promotions for a product builds anticipation today, but doesn't generate sales since the product hasn't been released. However, the goal is to generate excitement which turns into sales in the future. Get an opt-in. Here's where you get your readers to sign up for another list. Get traffic. This is where you send your readers to one of your properties. For example, you might send your readers to a blog page to read an article or watch a video. Send traffic to someone else. This is where you send traffic to someone else's page, even though it may not be directly beneficial to you. For example, you might send your readers to your joint venture partner's blog as part of an ongoing co-promotion agreement. Segment your list. This is where you ask your readers to take some sort of action so that you can further segment your list. You might simply segment based on who clicks the link in your email, or you might ask your readers to select which topics interest them the most. Build brand recognition. As part of this, you may build your authority expertise in the niche, such as by offering solid articles or videos with information that your prospects can't find anywhere else. Solving your readers' problems also helps achieve the goal of building good relationships with them. Promote an event. The idea here is to promote and get sign-ups for an event, such as a live webinar or even a contest. Make an announcement. Since building anticipation was covered in an earlier goal, for this category we are looking at non-promotional announcements. For example, you might let readers know your website is going to be down for a certain period of time for maintenance. Get feedback. Here you can ask your readers for feedback on most anything of relevance, including your newsletter, website, and products. You can also poll or survey your readers to understand them better. Get the prospect to contact you. For example, you may offer a free, no-obligation quote and encourage your readers to request their quote. These are some of the top goals that you're likely to seek in an email, but by no means is this an exhaustive list. You'll need to decide what your own goal is before you compose an email. It's a good idea to write your goal down. That way, your email will be laser-focused on achieving that goal. Tip: whenever possible, choose measurable goals. For example, if your goal is to generate sales, then you can look at your clicks and conversions for an email to see if you did indeed generate sales. Obviously, it's even better to attach specific numerical values to your goals. That way, you can check your email stats, opens, clicks, and conversions to see whether your email did a good job of achieving the goal. For example, if you set a goal to generate sales, plural, then if your email generates 2 sales, that means you've achieved your goal. However, if you have a list of 5,000 people, then getting 2 sales is actually an embarrassingly miserable conversion rate. And I'm betting you'd be hoping for a lot more than 2 sales. Point is, it's a good idea to set concrete, measurable, achievable goals. That way you'll know if your emails are serving their purpose, or if you need to tweak and improve future emails. Now let's look at the next ingredient in our recipe for getting people to open, and keep opening, your emails. Create a consistent voice and message. Sometimes email publishers have a tendency for their emails to be inconsistent. The voice may be inconsistent. In some cases, the messaging isn't cohesive. Either way, readers get turned off. They stop opening your emails, and in some cases, they unsubscribe. So, let's talk about how to create consistency in both the voice and message. Voice. Your voice is the overall flavor of your message. This voice is how you convey your message. Think about different marketing messages you've seen, or just browse through your email inbox. You'll immediately recognize that different marketers have different voices. Part of this is just the marketer's personal writing style. However, the other part that makes the voice is a conscious effort to give your brand a voice. So you need to ask yourself, what sort of voice best matches your brand? For example, if you have a fun and light brand, then your messaging voice should likewise be fun and light. Be conversational, inject a little humor, have some fun with your readers. Now consider if your brand is fairly serious. In that case, you need your messaging to come across as professional, educational, confident. Or what if your brand is all about helping busy people succeed? In that case, you need to make sure your messaging is tight, succinct. No fluff, no filler. Just a meaty message that busy people can read, absorb, and apply quickly. Point is, take a moment and think about your brand. What 1 or 2 adjectives describe your brand? And how will you convey your brand in your messaging? What you'll want to do is write down the adjectives that best describe the voice you'll use for your messaging. For example, confident, sarcastic, serious, witty, professional, helpful, informative, and so on. Then every time you sit down to craft an email, you'll want to check that your text matches those adjectives. It's also a good idea to create a style guide for your emails and all your messaging across platforms. This is especially important if you're not the only one creating the content. If you have business partners, employees, or independent contractors creating content, then you'll want to be sure that you're all writing with the same voice. You'll need to consider a lot of the finer points when it comes to writing, as all of these little details contribute to your messaging voice. You'll need to define your voice in terms of these details, and then write them down in a style guide. For example, consider these questions. Do you use a lot of exclamation points, very few, or none at all? If you use some, when do you use them? Give examples to illustrate when you're likely to use them. Do you use industry jargon and acronyms? If so, when do you use them? Do you explain them when you use them? Do you use swear words in your emails? If so, which ones are acceptable? What context do you use them? How often do you use them? For example, sparingly or generously. What is the overall format of your content? Long form, short tips, step-by-step how-to information with links to additional resources, graphics or no graphics? And if you do use graphics, what kind? Stylistically, what sort of writing style will work for your audience? For example, should your content always be grammatically correct? Or do you prefer to sometimes break the rules purposely, such as by having a sentence fragment for impact? If you break the rules, when is it acceptable to do so? Give examples or be specific. What level is your audience at with regards to the niche? For example, beginner, intermediate, advanced? What else do you know about the reader that will help you create content that resonates? Give this topic a few moments of thought now. Then later in this report, you'll learn more about creating content for your ideal customer avatar. As you can see, There are a lot of details to consider when developing a style guide. You want to review your existing, effective content in order to determine what styles you've been using so far that have been working for you. And if you're developing this guide for others, be sure to point to your existing content to show examples of all the different points above. For example, let's suppose you're defining when swear words are appropriate in your content. You'll want to first explicitly define and explain when it's appropriate to use this language. Then, to make your point clear, you'll want to show your partners and freelancers examples of your content where you deemed these words to be appropriate and even impactful, and content where you decided there wouldn't be any value to inserting those words. In other words, don't make people guess what you mean. Instead, show them examples so that they're very clear on what you're seeking in terms of voice and style. Now let's take a look at the topic of messaging consistency. Message at this point, you know how to create a consistent voice across the emails you send and across all other platforms. Now you need to create a consistent message across your emails as well as your marketing channels. By message, we're referring to both the branding message as well as what you're teaching your prospects and customers. For example, if you start advocating for different competing strategies in an area in which you've established yourself as an expert, your prospects are going to take note of this inconsistency. They'll wonder why you're wavering. They'll wonder why you seem to be all over the place. And they'll wonder why they're following you, because you don't seem very confident in your recommendations if you're recommending new, different, and competing strategies every week. Maybe to you it makes sense, especially if you're an affiliate marketer who tends to promote a lot of products. But you need to sit down and determine if your messages are conveying your brand and unique selling proposition or stomping all over it. Let's take Google as an example. Their motto is, "Do no evil." So anytime someone in the company sits down to communicate with customers, they need to be sure their messaging fits their motto. They'd completely destroy their credibility if they did many of the white lies that some marketers engage in, such as false scarcity. Another example, Apple. They've positioned themselves as industry leaders who develop cutting-edge technology. Now imagine if Apple sent out messages to their audience about technological advances that everyone else had heard about a month ago. That sort of messaging would destroy their cutting-edge reputation. Point is, think about your own branding and whether your emails are consistent not only across time, but also consistent across your other platforms. And if you have others writing your content, either partners or freelancers, make sure they understand how you'd like your brand conveyed across your messaging. Which brings us to the next point, write for your ideal customer. Let me give you the takeaway from this point right up front. If you try to write for everyone, you'll end up writing for no one. That's why you need to write your emails for your ideal customer. Let's suppose for a moment that you have a list of subscribers who are all looking to lose weight. And let's further suppose that you have a couple different audience segments. Perhaps you have both soccer moms and 20-something men on your list, and they're all looking for weight loss tips and solutions. Now, if you try to write to both of those groups, you're not really going to resonate with either of them, and you'll end up with both of these audiences growing cold because they're going to search for a marketer who seems to understand them and their needs. Because think about it, these two groups have vastly different motivations and reasons for losing weight. And their lifestyles are different too, so your weight loss tips need to reflect that. What you need to do is determine who your ideal customer is, and then write for that one person. Now I know the fear here. If you write for one person, then you're going to turn off a part of your audience. For example, if you write to the 20-something guy about getting his body beach ready so he can impress the women, that's going to turn off the soccer moms. And if you write to the soccer moms and talk about creating quick, easy, and delicious meals the whole family will love, the 20-something guys will look at you as if you've grown two heads. So, what happens? When you write to one part of your audience, you end up reducing your list. And that's a good thing. That's the goal. Because when you reduce your list, you've drawn your ideal customers towards you, while pushing away everyone else. End result is that you have a very targeted and very responsive list. With that in mind, here's your next step. You need to define your ideal customer. This isn't guesswork. You don't base this off of your wishful thinking about who you want your customer to be. Instead, you draw up a customer avatar based on who your customer actually is. In order to figure this out, you're going to need to do some research. This includes listening to your prospects and customers to get a better feel for who they are. You can do this by paying attention to what they're saying on your blog or similar blogs, on social media, and in groups or forums. You can also interact directly with them to learn more about their pains, desires, and motivations. Tip: a good way to better understand your audience is to do what they do for a period of time. For example, if you want to understand bodybuilders, then start leading a bodybuilding lifestyle yourself, including going down to the local lifting gym and interacting with the bodybuilders there. Surveying your audience. You can start by surveying your current list to find out who they are in terms of demographics, as well as what they want, what they've tried, where their pain points are, etc. You can then branch out and survey your market segments in other places, such as on social media and elsewhere. Research your audience. In some cases, other organizations, such as the government, research organizations, and universities, will share their research with the public. This is one way to get demographic information, as well as attitudes and viewpoints, through research such as Pew opinion polls. The more you know about your audience, the better you'll be able to connect with them via your newsletter. To that end, you should seek to answer the following questions about your ideal customer: gender, age, income, where does he or she live, rent or own, marital status, any children, educational level, income, career, hobbies, problems, pain points or challenges with regards to niche, what sort of products or solutions the prospect has tried, why haven't those products worked, what sort of blogs, niche publications, etc. does the prospect read or follow? Is the prospect a beginner, intermediate level, or expert in the niche? What does the prospect want? What motivates them? What do they fear? And anything else that you can learn about your prospects that will help you connect with them. Let's go back to the soccer mom example. Let's suppose you do a little research and find out that most of these moms are really busy. They work full-time. They're raising an average of 2 kids who are now in school, and they spend a whole lot of time ferrying these children to practices, games, appointments, events, etc. This mom wants to lose weight, but she doesn't have a whole lot of time. She certainly doesn't have time to cook 2 meals, one for herself and something tastier that her family will actually eat. And she also doesn't have a whole lot of time to devote to going to the gym. For this ideal prospect, you could connect by empathizing with how busy they are. For example, I know what it's like to be a busy mom. Seems like all you do is chauffeur the kids to events, clean up after them, and help them with their homework. You want to lose weight, but sometimes it feels like you just don't have any time or motivation left over. You can also offer solutions that fit their busy lifestyle. For example, these low-calorie recipes are so delicious that the whole family will love them, so no more making 2 meals. And they're quick, with each one taking an average of 15 minutes of prep time. Once you understand your ideal customer, then you'll be able to create content that really resonates with them. However, you'll also need to learn how to create content that hooks your readers and keeps them reading, which the next factor will examine. Create emails. People want to read. This is a big umbrella issue that's actually composed of several different factors. Let's take a look at what goes into creating emails that people want to read. Build good relationships with readers. One of the big keys as to whether subscribers open, read, and respond to your emails depends on your relationship with them. In short, do they know, like, and trust you? There are a lot of sub-issues that affect this factor. Let's take a look at them separately. Stay in touch. Think about your offline relationships. One of the keys to developing this relationship is that you frequently talk to the other person. The same works for your relationships with your subscribers. If you want to build good relationships, then you need to commit to sending emails on a regular basis, at least weekly, if not more. This not only helps you build relationships, it also helps you build top-of-mind awareness. Tip: the good news is that you can do plenty of relationship building with your autoresponder. Just be sure that the emails you're uploading are evergreen. That means that you avoid any references that will date the content. Any solutions or products you mention should also be evergreen, meaning they are relevant and useful today, and they will be relevant and useful in a year from now too. Next, give readers what they want. Another way to build good relationships with your readers and increase open rates is by giving your readers what they want. There are 3 ways to figure out what they want. It's a good idea to use a combination of these 3 methods, rather than relying entirely on just one method. 1. Research your market. Check with your competitors to see what sort of content they're both giving away for free and selling. Then provide something similar, yet better. 2. Ask your subscribers. Survey them to find out more about their pain points and challenges so that you can address them in your newsletters. You'll also want to directly ask them what sort of content and solutions they want. 3. Test and track your campaigns. Keep track of what sort of content your subscribers respond to really well so that you can give them more of the same. Take note, this not only refers to the topic, but also the overall format. For example, how do they respond to a long-form article versus a short tip? How do they respond to a direct promotion versus a product review? You'll want to keep track of their responses over time in order to start uncovering patterns to identify what your audience wants. Here's the next way to help build good relationships. Offer actionable content. Yes, you should provide a variety of content, including solutions that will help your readers over the long term. However, you'll also want to be sure to offer actionable content. This is content that your readers can put to use right away and start seeing results in a relatively short amount of time. Let me give you an example. Losing weight tends to be a long process for most people. If someone loses just 1 pound per week, it will take them 6 months to lose 24 pounds. Your content and solutions should help them with this ultimate goal. However, you should also provide tips and solutions that provide immediate results. In this case, you might suggest to your readers that they go for a 10 or 15-minute walk with variable intensity, jogging for a minute, walking for a minute, jogging for a minute, and so on. This is easy to do because they can do it in as little as 10 minutes. It's the type of activity that supports their long-term goals. And yet it also provides short-term benefits. Most people who engage in this sort of activity feel energized and their mood improves. They'll feel productive too, and happy that they're taking steps towards their goals. As such, they get to enjoy benefits immediately after they complete the task. Another example. Building a business is a long-term activity. However, you can give your readers actionable tips that take 5 or 10 minutes to implement, yet provide quick results. One specific example is a tweak to a headline that's likely to boost conversions. Another specific example is a post on social media that's likely to generate viral traffic. Point is, when people take action and get good results, then they're going to feel really good about your newsletter. So be sure to mix in actionable content that's likely to produce good results for your readers. Here's another tip for building good relationships. Promote right from the start. Some marketers with newsletters get the mistaken impression that they need to nurture their list before they can start promoting anything. In other words, they feel like they should give before they get. That's noble. But the reality is, you're just training your subscribers to expect 100% free content and solutions if you don't start promoting something as soon as your subscribers sign up. If they know what to expect, that you're going to offer them both free and paid solutions, then they're not going to be upset when you recommend products. Now here's the other thing you'll want to take into consideration. Your prospects joined your list because they're looking for you to provide good content and solutions to them. They're going to naturally assume that you're going to recommend only the best solutions. So why on earth would you ever withhold a solution simply because it costs money? Let's take the example of someone with a painful medical problem, such as sciatica. Let's suppose the very best solution you know of costs money. Are you going to let your readers suffer with excruciating pain by not telling them about this solution, simply because you think you should nurture your list before you promote anything? That would be a huge disservice to your readership. That's why you should start promoting from day one, because to do so otherwise means you're very likely withholding the best solution. Here's the next tip for building good relationships with your subscribers. Be honest and build credibility. It seems like this should go without saying, but plenty of marketers tend to overlook this idea. You need to be honest and professional when it comes to your readers, because as soon as they detect that you're not being straightforward, trust will be broken, and from there on out, you're going to struggle with getting people to open your emails, much less respond to them. Now heads up. There are a few people who are going to read this bit about being honest, roll their eyes, and say, "Duh! But of course I'm honest." Except here's the thing. Some marketers have gotten into the habit of telling white lies. They think that exaggeration is part of the marketing game. For example, plenty of marketers use false scarcity tactics. They swear up and down that the special offer is ending at midnight. Except it doesn't. If you go back tomorrow and check the offer, it's at the same price. And maybe now the countdown clock has reset. And again it's saying the special offer ends at midnight. But the astute prospect realizes the countdown clock always resets, and the offer never changes price. That's an example I'm sure we've all seen. And you know, that sort of stuff ruins your credibility, breaks trust, and harms future sales. Tip: promoting shoddy products is another way to destroy your credibility. Don't try to put lipstick on a pig just to make a quick buck. If you're doing product reviews and something genuinely stinks, then tell your readers why you think there are better solutions out there for them. The point is, make sure you're being absolutely straightforward with your subscribers, because any little white lie or exaggeration can come back to bite you in the backside. As you can see, there are plenty of little factors that go into building good relationships with your prospects, all of which can boost your open rate. Now let's look at the next factor that gets your emails opened. Establish your expertise. Imagine for a moment there are a set of prospects who are all interested in golfing. Half of these prospects get a golfing email from Joe Blow. The other half get an email from Tiger Woods. Now which email do you think these prospects are going to open up and devour first? That's right, they're going to read the golfing tips that come from a known expert, Tiger Woods. They may not even bother opening the email from Joe Blow, especially if they don't recognize his name as being a golf pro. You see, people like to follow known experts. They're actively seeking authorities in the niche to follow. And that's why you'll want to be sure you establish your own expertise. In essence, you need to become the Tiger Woods of some segment of your niche, which will naturally lead to more people following you. So, how do you build your expertise? Check out these tips. Show readers you are an expert. The number one way to establish your expertise is to simply show your readers consistently and over time that you know what you're talking about. In other words, provide great content that readers can't find anywhere else, and they'll naturally look to you as the expert in the niche. Highlight your credentials. If you have some sort of credentials to help prove you're an expert, then showcase them. This doesn't mean you drone on and on about yourself, as you need to create content centered around your readers, not you. However, you should take time here and there to tell people why they should listen to you. What sort of credentials are we talking about? This includes a degree in a relevant field. For example, if you're writing about getting rid of back pain, then share if you have a relevant degree such as nursing. An established work history in a relevant field. For example, if you're teaching people how to sell their homes for more money, then you might tout your credentials as spending 25 years as a real estate agent. Proof that you can provide results for yourself and others. For example, if you're serving people who want to lose weight, then show your before and after pics of clients who've lost weight under your training. Awards and recognition in the field. For example, if you're teaching people how to write best-selling novels, then show people the writing awards you've won. And similar items. Get people to interview you. Sometimes marketers work on landing other experts as guests on their webinars. That's beneficial for other reasons. But if you want to be seen as an expert in your niche, then you need to be the one giving the interviews on webinars, podcasts, talk radio, and similar. Tip: if seeking out interviews isn't working for you, then ask a friend to interview you. You might even do this on a regular basis, such as every month. Once others in your niche listen to your interviews, they'll start approaching you about being their guest too. Write a book. Here we're talking about a physical book on Amazon. You don't even need to find a publisher, as you can self-publish it using createspace.com. But the point is, people tend to view those who've published a print book as experts. Do guest blogging. If your content shows up on a lot of different popular blogs in your niche, people are going to naturally view you as an expert. In short, people want to read emails from people they perceive to be experts. So if you work on building your expertise, your open and response rates will go up. Now the next factor in creating content, people want to read. build anticipation. Every email you send should seek to build anticipation, preferably in both of the following ways. 1. The email should build anticipation for what's coming up in that email. 2. The email should build anticipation for what's coming up in a future email. And here's one more factor in creating content. People want to read. Create entertaining, engaging content. It's not enough to create useful or even novel information. Because here's the thing. If prospects find that reading your content is as boring as watching paint dry, they're not going to read it. It doesn't matter if you're sharing the holy grail of your niche. It doesn't matter if you've done a bang-up job of establishing yourself as an expert. If your content is dry, your open rates and response rates are going to be poor. That's why you need to create edutaining, educational plus entertaining content. Here are tips and tricks for making your content more entertaining and engaging. Tell relevant stories. These are not only entertaining, they also engage your reader on an emotional level. Inject humor where appropriate. But be careful, as humor is subjective and even differs among cultures. You'll need to understand your audience in order to make this really work for you. Write as if you're speaking to a friend. Toss out those big $100 words and use a more casual way of writing instead. Use curiosity, keep people reading. For example, in just a moment I'll tell you the little-known trick that can double your conversion rates. But first, spice up your writing with analogies, metaphors, and similes. For example, don't just tell your readers that something is dry. Instead, say it's as dry as a piece of sand in the Sahara Desert. Vary your writing style. Sometimes you may use longer, lazier sentences. At other times, you may create short 3-word sentences to build tension. Hint: read fiction novels to get a sense of how to put this strategy to work for you. So, there you have it. That's how you create emails that people really want to read. And now let's take a look at the next major factor that's going to influence your open rates. Differentiate yourself from your competitors. If you want your readers to religiously open and actually read your emails, then you need to make them worth reading. And that means you need to offer information in a unique way. That is, you need to differentiate yourself from your competitors. Think about it. If new subscribers pop open your first few emails and reads content that he can find anywhere else, how long do you think he'll stick around? Hint: not long. Why should they, if you're not offering anything new? Now, offering something new doesn't mean every email needs to be chock full of earth-shattering strategies that no one in your niche has ever heard of before. Sure, it's awesome when you're able to pioneer strategies in your niche, and you should strive to do that, but it's not a requirement for getting people to consistently open, read, and respond to your content. So, here's what you need to do. First, you need to subscribe to all your competitors' emails and read them regularly. And while you're at it, you can check out their content on other platforms, such as on their blogs and social media pages. You'll also want to check out their products if they sell information products, such as books, videos, etc. Your goal in reading all of this content is twofold. 1. You want to find out what's popular in your niche. If several competitors are sending out information on a specific topic in your niche, that's a clue that the topic is popular. And of course, if you check out social media pages, you can check a post's likes, comments, and shares to get a feel as to how popular a topic is. These popular topics are the sort you'll want to talk about too. 2. You want to find out how your competitors are talking about teaching the topic. That way, you can teach it in a different way. Here's where the differentiation and novelty come in. Now that you know what your competitors are saying, your goal is to say it in a different way. Teach it differently. But heads up, you're not out to compete with everyone else in your market on every email you send. Instead, focus on being different and consistently striving to do better. Compete with yourself and just worry about your own numbers to see if you're doing well. More on that in just a bit. At this point, you may be wondering how exactly do you teach information in a new way? If you look at what others in your niche are doing, you'll see a lot of straightforward step-by-step articles. Here are ways you can make your content more unique without having to pioneer completely new strategies. Coin new phrases. One way to make your content unique is to create new words or phrases for things. Take the example of your typical opt-in lead page. No one really had a good name for it, so people often referred to it as an opt-in page. That was descriptive and it worked. Then one marketer called it a squeeze page, and that terminology took off. And you can bet that marketers' reputation was elevated in the niche, and plenty of subscribers became loyal fans. Next, create formulas, acronyms. If everyone is teaching step-by-step information in your niche, then see if you can fit this how-to information into a formula. Let me give you an example. You're probably familiar with the copywriting acronym AIDA. Instead of saying things like, Step 1, get people interested in your offer, one clever person created the AIDA formula. This acronym stands for Attention, Interest, Desire, and Action, and it perfectly describes the basic structure of a sales letter. Now think of your own niche and topics you teach. What sort of formulas or acronyms can you use to set yourself apart from others in the niche? Apply ideas from other niches to your niche. As mentioned before, it's great if you can pioneer new strategies and share them with your subscribers. But if not, look at what other niches are doing and ask yourself if you can apply those strategies to your niche. For example, let's suppose you're involved in dog training. You might look at other animal trainers, such as those working in zoos, to see what they're doing and to see if any of their training strategies might work with dogs. You can take the most promising strategies, field test them, and then report on your tests to your niche. Alternatively, you can simply provide a twist on an existing method. For example, both the South Beach diet and the Atkins diet are low-carb diets. However, they are sufficiently different from each other that the creators could present them as new diets when they are really just tweaks on existing diets. Provide case studies and test results. If you look around at your niche, chances are you'll discover that quite a few email publishers focus on how to content. If that's the case, here's another place where you can differentiate yourself. If you take the extra step and test strategies in your niche and report back on the results, whether expected or unexpected, you'll develop a following of people who are hungry for this sort of information. For example, if you're catering to a weight loss crowd, then put dieting strategies, exercises, and supplements to a rigorous test. Don't just say, the food in this diet is delicious and helps you lose weight. Instead, recruit neutral subjects to follow the diet and carefully track their weight, measurements, mood, hunger levels, and so on. You'll be able to provide the sort of data that very few others in your niche are providing, and you can bet that will make you stand out. Now here's one more way to stand out. Offer tools. A lot of email publishers focus on providing the instructions for completing a process, but they don't offer tools, other than paid products, to make the process easier. You can set yourself apart from your competitors by offering tools that enable people to take action and get better results. These tools include checklists, worksheets, mind maps, cheat sheets, templates, swipes, lists, such as gear lists, planners, calculators, apps, and similar items. For example, if you teach copywriting to people, then you might include tools in your newsletters such as an audience profiling worksheet, a sales letter checklist, a sales letter template, a collection of swipes, headline swipes, PS swipes, guarantee swipes, etc. Or if you're helping people lose weight, then you might include tools such as a calculator for determining how many calories to eat, an exercise planner, a set of meal plans, shopping lists, a template journal, and similar items. So, you get the point? If you can get your email readers to take action, they're bound to get good results. And when they get good results, they're going to become very loyal readers who open every email you send. Now the next factor that will boost your open rates: test and track your campaigns. In the last section, I mentioned competing against yourself. And the only way to truly do this is to test and track your campaigns. In other words, let the hard data drive your decisions, not your gut feelings. When you find something that works, do more of it. When you discover that something has promise, tweak it to see if you can make it better. And if you learn that something isn't working at all, then dump it and try something new. Generally, many of the major email service providers offer some built-in statistics that you can use to track your campaigns. The two actions you'll track include open rates, click rates. Now, there are a lot of factors that are going to influence these two actions. Let's take a closer look at some of the top factors. Take note that some of the open rate and click rate factors overlap. Open rate factors. Let's start with the factors that influence whether someone opens your emails or not. The email subject line. This is one of the most important factors. Have you created a subject line that captures the reader's interest and compels them to open your email? Your subject line not only needs to be captivating, it also needs to be succinct. Most email clients truncate the subject line, usually to around 50 characters. So you need to be sure your email subject line packs a big punch within these limits. You'll learn more about what makes a good subject line just a bit later in this report. For now, let's turn our attention to the next factor. The from field 1 factor that comes into play with regards to your from field is whether the reader recognizes your company name, or your name, the brand name, or whatever else is in the from field. In other words, have you done a good job of branding? Have you stayed in touch with your subscribers on a regular basis? Have you kept your from field the same so that subscribers don't get confused? Here's another factor that's related to the from field: your relationship with the reader. Your reader may recognize the from field, but that doesn't mean that he's going to fall all over himself to open it. If you haven't yet developed a good relationship with your readers, they may just trash your email rather than open it. Earlier in this report, we talked about some of the factors that go into developing a good relationship, including providing content they can't get anywhere else, being honest with your subscribers, and seeking to solve their problems, whether the email is something the reader expects. Another factor rests with what sort of expectations you've created in your readers. Whether you're doing it intentionally or not, you have created expectations. In some cases, you may have created them on the lead page, where you described what the reader would receive. You may have created them in your initial emails as you described what to expect as a subscriber of your newsletter, and your past email patterns also help create these expectations. What sort of expectations are we talking about? These: 1. The frequency of your email. If you promise to send one email per week and you start sending one per day instead, that's going to affect open rates since readers don't expect it, and it's not what you promised to them up front. Note: the actual frequency itself does not matter, as long as that frequency is what your readers expect. You can send 2 emails per day, and that would be perfectly fine, as long as your readers expect it. Point is, pick your mailing rate and then let your readers know what to expect. 2. The content of the email as summarized in the subject line. Again, are you sending emails that your readers expect, or have you repurposed your list for some other reason? Hint: repurposing your list is bound to tank open rates. For example, let's suppose you started your list based on promising to deliver product reviews to subscribers. And let's suppose you decided to change your newsletter purpose to offer how-to information instead. Guess what happens? All the people who joined to receive those promised product reviews are going to stop opening your emails. In some cases, they'll unsubscribe. Point is, be sure you define your newsletter purpose up front for both yourself and your audience. And then don't repurpose your list because you feel like doing something else, unless, of course, your tracking and testing data tells you something different. Next, day or time. Email was sent. It's a good idea to send out emails on days and times of day when your readers are active, online, and have the time to click on your emails. What time is that? Only testing and tracking can tell you for sure what the best times are for sending emails. However, as a guideline and place to start, take a look at your statistics to see when the bulk of your newsletter subscribers joined your list. If a lot of them joined at 9 a.m. weekdays, then you can start testing those times to see if your readers are indeed responsive. Tip: if you have a lot of subscribers in different parts of the world, you may consider segmenting your list by location. That way, you can determine what time of day works best for each segment and then schedule your emails to go out at times that are best for those in different locations. For example, maybe 9 a.m. EST works best for your United States subscribers, but your UK subscribers aren't as responsive at that time because it's mid-afternoon. You can find out when UK subscribers are responsive, perhaps it's 9 a.m. their time, and then send emails accordingly. Now let's look at the factors that affect click rates. Click rate factors. At this point, your readers have opened your emails. Now the question is, will they actually read them and then click on your links? Here are some of the factors that will influence your click rates. Mobile friendliness. Chances are, a lot of your subscribers are going to open your emails on the go, from their phones. If you're using HTML-based emails, then you need to be absolutely sure that they are mobile friendly, aka responsive. If a reader opens your email and finds it difficult to read because the HTML is messed up on their phone, you can bet your click rate is going to be low. Your ability to engage the reader. Your opener, the first paragraph, is going to be the most important factor, because if it doesn't hold your reader's interest, then he's going to close the email and move on. However, the rest of your email needs to be equally engaging. Think of your email as a greased slide. Every word is designed to get the reader to read the next word. Each sentence is constructed to engage the reader and keep them hooked and reading. We talked about some of the factors that help engage the reader earlier in the report, such as novel content, emotional engagement, etc. So refer back to those factors and work on improving your writing. Think edutainment, educational yet entertaining. Be sure to use a light conversational tone, and you may consider injecting humor where appropriate. You'll also want to keep in mind that the way you format your email is going to influence read and click-through rates. For example, long blocks, walls of text are incredibly hard to read, and a lot of people simply won't expend the effort. That's why you want to format for easy readability, which includes using short words and short sentences. Use a lot of white space to make your content easy to read. Using bolded subheadlines to break up long emails. This also helps draw skimmers back into your content when you drop a juicy, benefit-driven, curiosity-arousing subheadline in the middle of an email. Using bulleted lists to break up long paragraphs. This list is an example. Inserting graphics to break up the content and make it more aesthetically pleasing. This works particularly well in long emails or those with data-heavy text, as you can use an infographic to make the text easier to read and understand. Next, relevancy or interest to the reader. Sometimes you can completely engage a reader in your opening paragraph, but the reader's interest may decline as they learn more about what you're offering. Here's the key. You need to offer the right product at the right price to the right audience. If any of these factors are off, your click-through rates are going to suffer. In order to determine the right product at the right price to the right audience, you need to do two things. 1. Do your market research. Find out what the best sellers are in your niche. This data will serve as a guide as far as what sorts of products you should develop and test. 2. Track and test offers. Use your email service provider's built-in testing tools to randomly split your subscribers into groups and then send out identical emails with different products or different prices. This is the only way to know for sure what types of offers are the best match for your audience. Now the next factor that may affect your click rates, your relationship with the reader. We addressed this in the previous section on open rate factors, but it's relevant here too. Basically, it boils down to this. Does the reader know, like, and trust you? If not, then they may open your emails, but they may not trust you enough to click on your links. Call to action. The first thing you need to check is that your email as a whole was created with one goal in mind, and that your call to action supports that goal. In other words, is your email focused and targeted in a way that it naturally leads to your call to action? Next, you need to look at the actual call to action itself. Is it specific? And where possible, do you generate a sense of urgency around this call to action? For example, click here to watch this video, and do it now before this offer disappears for good. Day or time email was sent. Sometimes your open rate may be high at a certain time of the day, but the click rate isn't high. That's because a reader may have time to open your email, but not necessarily take action on it. For example, let's suppose you're sending emails off at 9 a.m. People are just getting to work, and they check their emails one last time before starting their tasks. Yes, they have time to open and read your emails, but they forego taking any action until they get home in the evening. and by that time they may forget about your email. Point is, you need to look at both open rates and click-through rates when you're trying to determine the best time to send emails. What should you test? As you can see, there are a lot of factors that determine whether people will open your email and click on your links. However, only some of them are directly testable, such as subject lines, and those are the factors you'll want to focus on. Note, the other factors, such as developing a relationship with your readers, are something you can strive to improve upon with each email you send, but it's incredibly difficult to directly test the factor. However, if you're struggling to improve your open or click rates despite testing things like subject lines and offers, then you'll need to consider whether you've built a trusting relationship with your readers. So here then are the main testable factors to focus on: email subject line, email opener, the offer, product and price, call to action, the postscript, as skimmers sometimes skim right down to the end of the email to get the gist of it, days and times you send emails. Remember, when you're testing and tracking, be sure to focus on just one factor. That way, if the conversion rates change, then you know that change is attributable to the factor you're testing. Let's suppose you're looking at the impact email subject lines have on your open and click-through rates. In this case, the only difference between the emails you send should be the subject lines and nothing else. All other variables should be held constant. For example, if you send half of your emails out at a different time of the day, then you just introduced another variable. If your conversion rates differ between the two testing groups, then you won't know if it is due to the differing subject lines or the two different times of day that you sent the emails. Point is, hold all variables constant so that you can be more confident about your results. As mentioned above, creating a compelling email subject line is a huge influential factor when it comes to getting people to open your emails. That's what we'll look at next. Craft attention, getting email. Subject lines. We're not going to sugarcoat this. If your email subject lines stink, so will your open rates. Sure, you can overcome a poor subject line to some degree by developing really good relationships with your subscribers. But even if you have that, you still want compelling subject lines, simply because it will boost your open rates even more. Which brings us to the question, what makes a good subject line? There are several factors that compel people to click, including curiosity. This is like creating an itch that your readers need to scratch, and the only way they can scratch this itch is by opening your email. For example, the number fat loss secret no one is telling you. Urgency. Basically, this boils down to a fear of missing out. For example, this is your last chance to join the webinar. Freebies. People love free stuff, and free is even a powerful trigger words. For example, free nutrition consultation if you act now. Solutions. This is a subject line that simply promises a solution to a prospect's pressing problem. For example, house train your puppy in 72 hours? Personalization. Sometimes it's really powerful to include your reader's name in the email. For E, Jim, here's your coupon code. Name dropping. Here's where you name a famous person, dead or alive, to attract attention. For example, even Warren Buffett doesn't know this investment tip. Which brings us to this. 10 winning subject line formulas time to apply what you just learned about. Check out these 10 winning subject lines that you can use in any niche. Feel free to swipe and modify them for your own use. 1. The quick and easy solution. Subject line. As you learned above, people will open emails that promise them solutions to their most pressing problems. But you know what? They don't want just any solution. I mean, if you tell people they can lose weight, but it will take them 3 years to do it, they're going to trash your email. Or if you tell them that solving their problem is going to be hard, they're going to look for something easier. See? People are looking for solutions that are both quick and easy. That's why templates like this work. Here's the quick and easy way to get some benefit. For example, here's the quick and easy way to get rid of cellulite. Here's another template using this formula. The easiest way I know to get some benefit fast. For example, the easiest way I know to lose 10 pounds fast. 2. The curiosity arousing subject line. The key here is to create a subject line that's relevant. For example, a subject line that says sex may create curiosity about the content of your message. But if the subject line doesn't match the content within, Your readers are going to bail on you and be unlikely to open future emails from you. There are quite a few ways to arouse curiosity in your subject line. Let me give you a few example templates. The common thing that does something amazing. For example, this common herb skyrockets your metabolism. Some amazing result? For example, lose weight without exercising? 3. The personalized curiosity subject line. Here's where you combine personalization with curiosity to create something click-inducing. First name of your subscriber. Do you know this type of trick? For example, Sally, do you know this conversion trick? 4. The urgent freebie subject line. Urgency, especially in the form of scarcity, is a powerful motivator. This works like crazy to boost open rates on paid offers, but you can even use it on free offers too. Here we combine the fear of missing out with a free buy. Get your free offer before it's gone for good. For example, download this free app before it's gone for good. Another example template using this formula. Get item for free while you still can. Ends soon. For example, get your free copywriting consultation while you still can. Ends soon. 5. The social proof subject line. This is the subject line that suggests other people are getting a benefit and the reader will want to act, that is, open the email, if they want to get that benefit too. Here's a template. Who else wants a benefit? For example, who else wants whiter teeth and a sexier smile? 6. The here's what happened subject line. This is a subject line that hints at a story, and generally it also arouses curiosity to get the click. Check out this template. Did something of interest to the niche. Here's what happened. For example, I ate nothing but fruit for 2 weeks. Here's what happened. 7. The let's do this together subject line. A lot of people feel like they've been struggling with their problem alone. This subject line suggests that you'll help them because you're in this together. Here's a template. Let's get some benefit together. For example, let's boost your conversion rate together. Another template. Let me help you get some benefit. For example, let me help you shake off those 10 stubborn pounds. 8. The special offer subject line. This not only presents a special offer, which is motivating, it can also include an expiration to create urgency or scarcity. Here's a template without urgency. Order product now and get something else free. For example, order the fat loss guide now and get this meal planning app for free. Here's a template with urgency. Your special type of discount ends soon. For example, your special 50% discount off all software ends soon. 9. The expert subject line. As you already learned earlier in this report, people want to follow experts and authorities in a niche, and you can use that fact to increase your open rate with this subject line template. What some type of experts know about getting some benefit. For example, what doctors know about getting rid of back pain. 10. The story subject line. The story subject line works because it uses curiosity to pull people in, and once you actually start your story within the email, you'll engage your readers emotionally. Take note that this can be a professional or personal story as long as it's relevant. Template. Some person surprised me during this activity or by doing this. For example, my grandma surprised me with this weight loss tip. Now the final factor that goes into getting more people opening more of your emails. Use a solid email service provider. As mentioned a few pages back, you should use an email service provider that offers built-in tracking and testing tools. Many, but not all, of the major email service providers offer this feature. Don't sign up until you confirmed whether this feature is available. The second factor you need to examine is deliverability. Simply put, are your emails going to end up in your intended recipient's inbox? Here there are 2 issues at play. 1. What sort of uptime does the email service provider, ESP, have? If your ESP has a lot of service interruptions, then you're going to struggle with getting your emails delivered. For example, if you're aiming to send emails at a certain time of day, you may be off by several hours if the service gets interrupted. 2. What is the email service provider's deliverability rate? The good ESPs work hard to make sure your emails get into the intended inboxes. Usually the ESPs that value deliverability will have dedicated staff working on this issue. Parting thoughts. As you can see, there are a lot of factors that influence whether your subscribers open your emails or not. Fortunately, none of these factors are particularly difficult. Some of them take time, such as building a relationship with readers, and others take practice, such as crafting awesome subject lines. But if you take consistent action each day to improve your open rates, then you too will soon find yourself with a responsive list. This special offer is for the Email Miner Partnership. For just $100 per month, you will get unlimited accounts on Email Miner. This is a software we sell for $47 per month to $97 per month and have paying customers on. You can also sell it at whatever price you want, although we have minimum public advertised pricing of $47 per month. Privately, like in a membership area like this, you can offer it for whatever price you want. So for $100 per month, you will get unlimited accounts that you can sell. Just watch the video above that explains everything. I'm also giving you a 30-day no questions asked, get your fucking money back if you don't like it, or for any reason want to quit. Just cancel and I'll give you 100% of your money back. You will find the link to Email Miner in the document below.